Evening, everyone. Welcome along to the Rangers Rabble Women's Show. My name's Brian. I'm hosting tonight with Wilf. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay, Brian. Yeah, a little bit well, I wouldn't say suitably rested, but yeah, a wee bit rested up after a bit of a marathon day yesterday. Two games in the books with that, but at least they gave us a wee bit of time to get from A to B this time.
Correct, and we'll come on to that later on. Car, how are we?
Yeah, not bad, thanks.
Good stuff. And Alan, how are we?
I'm all right, thanks. Glad to almost be finished working in Glasgow for a while. So
good stuff. Hope you enjoyed the new intro. Martin produced a nice intro for us for the women's show. Hope you all liked it. If you didn't, you'll maybe see it at the end. You'll catch it at the end. But of course, we're here to speak about two games, not one, two games. We had the Old Firm game on Thursday, which ended Rangers 2, Celtic 2, and we had Rangers versus Motherwell, which Rangers won 2-0. Carr, what was the overall opinion or feeling going into the game on the Thursday?
I mean, I was pretty confident. I don't know about anyone else, but we were doing pretty well in the league. We, brought in Wilco, who was a goal-scoring machine. We were doing pretty well defensively. I was pretty confident, feeling players were buying up for it, so I thought it would be quite a good affair. We'd get on quite well and go and win it, but not to be.
Not to be. Alan, was your feelings much and such the same, considering they'd won every game previous?
yeah, I was pretty confident going into the game. I was maybe slightly worried and very, very slightly concerned that we'd played so poorly at the weekend before Dundee United, but I thought we had more than enough in the tank to go and take the game and really put that bad record at Broadwood against them to bed.
Yeah, Wolf, and the early signs of the game were promising, but again, that Broadwood curse has cursed us again.
Yeah, we seem to have this thing that we just can't beat them at Broadwood. I've got no idea why. I mean, we'll go through the game. But yeah, I mean, I only watched it on my phone, the first half on Emerson Drive, the second half on the club deck, because obviously you couldn't do them both given the ridiculous kick-off times. And I know Carl's wanting me to go off on a rant because she mentioned it on her own podcast earlier, but I'm not going to go on a rant. We've done that to death. What really annoyed me was I went to the front door at Edmiston House at 5 to 6, had a look in. There was only in-house adverts on all the televisions I could see, and I asked the woman who looked like she was head of security, "Are you showing the Old Firm ladies game?" She won't be showing tonight's game. I says, "No, not the game. Ibrox later on. The game's kicking off in 5 minutes." And she looked at me like I had three heads. She didn't have a clue what I was talking about. Now, to me, Rangers have got a facility there. They should be advertised that say, "Look, come in and watch a game." But they didn't. So managed to watch it on my phone, which isn't ideal. But I've watched the highlights back a couple of times, and as Carl said, we started off really well. I mean, we were absolutely coasting, and the Broadwood curse hit again.
Yeah, it certainly did. And the team that Joe Potter selected for the day was Victoria Essendon goals, Nick Docherty, Catherine Hill, Leah Eddy at the back. We then had Lizzie Arnott, Olivia McLaughlin, Tess Middack, and Brogan Hay, with a front three of Rio Hardy, Kirsty Howitt, and Katie Wilkinson. And Carr, as you said, that was pretty much the team that everybody expected.
Yeah, I mean, I think we figured out from the Dundee United game that a few of them had been rested, weren't in the squad altogether, so it made sense that it was probably the strongest team we could have gone with. The front three being flat was a bit weird to me. I thought Kirsty would do her usual and sit in behind and a little bit deeper there, but just the way that it worked out. So maybe three strikers is a bit too many, in my opinion. Two is probably a better one. And then you could put Jodie McCleary or Megan Bell or someone in behind there that's got more experience in that role. But that's the team Joe picked. I was pretty happy with it and pretty confident with it, yeah.
Yeah, Alan. If you were, as Carl just said, if you were handpicking a team, it would pretty much be it. The only one that you could have maybe argued that would have played instead would have been Mia McCauley. Apart from that, that was pretty much it. And the team's been playing well. They've not been conceding many goals. The midfield's been very effective. So it was kind of that's the team, isn't it?
Yeah, I know Cara and Demi spoke on another podcast about Mia not starting, but Mia's unlucky to be the odd one at the three because Brogan and Lizzie have had absolutely tremendous starts to the season. You can't be upset at either of them starting. And Mia's getting a chance to come off the bench against Tyrone defenders who've just been ran ragged by either Broken Hair or Zernick. So, Mia's got to take that opportunity and get her up in her hands when she comes on. And I think we've seen when she did come on late in the game, she had a lot of joy against a very tired fullback who Brogan's absolutely run ragged in that second half.
Yeah, definitely. And Wolf, the defence has always been very good, but in the last few weeks it's been exceptional. So the defence was never really going to be the sticking point for selection, was it? It was always going to be who was going to be in that wings, the wide areas for the midfield. And then I think that as Alan and Cara both said, the strikers pretty much picked themselves, didn't it?
They do. I mean, Joe seems to use it, rotate the squad quite well. Seems to give them all almost an equal amount of game time, between starting them and bringing them on. But as Carl said, the flat three up front was, I obviously didn't realise because watching it on my phone, you can't really tell how they've set up at the front. It's a front three, but whether it's 2 with one off or 2 wide and 1 down the middle, you can't really tell that from there. That's a bit odd because that's not really how we play. I mean, Kirsty Howitt tends to kind of drift about around the back. Rio sort of goal hangs, if you like, almost, and Wilco just bulldozes their way all across the box. So, having them as a flat three, they've got to really, for me, have defined positions. Like one's got to be the middle, one's got to be left, one's got to be right. There's not the same fluidity, which I find a wee bit strange. It's as if, to me, if that's how they set up, they were playing the opposition rather than playing their own game. Because that's not really how we play.
Very much so. And Car, it didn't take us long to get going. A corner on the right, the far side, Brogan Hay gets past the defender. A low cross, wasn't their best cross, low cross in. Takes a few ricochets here and there, and Kirsty Howitt volleys it in the back of the net. A great start.
I mean, Joe's always saying that she wants us to start fast, and we did it. Finally, after about 6 games of not actually starting quick enough for her liking, but it's a well-worked goal. Wilco gets a wee flick on of it to put it into Kirsty Howitt's path, and she just absolutely smashes it into the back of the net. We're 4 minutes in, you're already 1-0 up, and we're cruising. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. You couldn't be more happy with it. I was buzzing. Honestly, I don't know if Paul mentioned it there, but people were sending photos and that me and Laura and Alan and that were going absolutely mental because we're just so buzzing because we've finally done it. We finally didn't give them a goal head start. We finally cracked the code, so to speak, that we got one up early doors, and it was beautiful. It was wonderful.
Absolutely. And then a corner from the other side, Alan. Tess gets up and heads the ball into the goal, but it was pulled back for what I believe the officials interpret it as, I think it was Rio was blocking the view of the goalkeeper.
A very generous blocking the view of the goalkeeper, I think. Rio was in an offside position. I really don't think she's influenced the game by blocking the keeper. Given that she's sort of the far post from where the ball went, and I don't really see that she's blocking the keeper's view in that header at all. Rio does tend to take up that position and be in that sort of offside position, looking to maybe get on the second phase of play. But it was an absolute brilliant header by Tess. The keeper was never saving that, and very, very harshly sort of ruled out. Well, I know there's complaints that Rio is in the same sort of position for Kirsty's goal. So inconsistent in terms of decision making from the officials, and the touchline staff, are asking the referee who was offside. It was just offside. The attitude of the referee was as stinking as his performance.
Yeah, Wolf, it's not great. And of course, just before, later on in the second half, Rangers had a slight scare where Celtic broke up the park, and thankfully the Celtic striker didn't make anything of it, and Rangers went in 1-0 up.
Yeah, I mean, when one up at the break, I mean, Alan's touching on the performance of the referee. It's not really a surprise when the supposed top grade 1 referees aren't very good. As you go down the levels, they're not. But the very fact that the referees turned out at the bench and when it was just offside, they have to be able to clarify who it was. And I mean, having watched the the goal that was given and the goal that was disallowed, as Alan touched on there, Rio was basically in the same position for both goals. So either one's a goal, meaning the other one's a goal, or neither of them are goals. Because she's in exactly the same position for both goals. So she's either offside twice or not offside at all. And if we go in 2-0 up, it's a completely different game. You know, particularly when you consider that, you know, the first thing really happened in the second half was we got a penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. Carr, we just come on to that. A big spread pass out to the left to Liz Yarnett. Liz Yarnett looks up and it's a penalty, isn't it? The arm's not in a natural position and it's a penalty, isn't it?
The only thing you can maybe argue is that it could be outside the box. I'm going to say it's not because I'm a Rangers fan and it was a penalty and it stood. So I'm saying it's a penalty. But if it happens in the box, it's a penalty because it hits her arm. Her arm's up away from her. It's a penalty. And Wilco does what Wilco does and steps up. Initially, we were all thinking who's going to take it because Kirsty had the ball and then she put it down. I think she pointed to Wilco and we're thinking it's a bit harsh on Rio, who's been the penalty taker last season. So it's a bit harsh on her. But Wilco steps up, dispatches it as easy as you can, makes no mistake, and we're 2-0 up.
Brian, it was 100%.
Yeah,
it was 100%. Sorry, Brian, it was 100% a handball. As Carl said, you could argue that it was outside the box, but for me, I think the defender lands outside the box when she handles it. But I think she was possibly on the line of the box, on the lines inside the box. So it's a penalty. At the end of the day, they'd be wanting that at the other end. You know what I mean? So it's for me, it's a penalty. And as Carl says, Wilco just that's what she does. The keeper had the cheek to die for it, to be fair.
Yeah, Alan, what was your take on it? Was it a penalty?
Oh, absolute stonewall penalty. Absolutely stonewall. But
and also, Alan, was it nice for Kirsty? Was it nice for Kirsty to get her penalty as well?
Yeah, I thought Rio was wanting to take it. Obviously, Rio's been the penalty taker since she signed, but having missed the last one, you know, I think Katie Wilkinson was having absolutely none of it, and you know was taking a penalty all day long and made no mistake. So I think that will be Katie Finlay on penalties. Not that she needs it for the golden boot, but you know I think she'll add some gloss to her tally with a few penalties because we all love those three words.
Yeah, we certainly do. Now I'm going to throw this out to all of you. Any one of you can chime in first. The goal that made it 2-1. I've watched this, I don't know how many times back. How in the life that is a penalty, I'll never know. It's baffling that is. I mean, Nick Docherty doesn't even move her body, and for me, the Celtic girl just goes down and tries to buy it, and the referee bought it. I don't know what any of you thought. I thought it was extremely. To be honest,
I thought it just came at the end of a wee spell of play where we were all over the place in that box. We could not get it cleared. It was chaos, and you know, I worried at first look it looked like it might have been a foul. You know, I've not seen a replay it back, but I think it was just an easy chance for a referee to even it up. You know, soft would certainly describe it, the awarded penalty, but you know, it all came from us completely having lost the head in defence, particularly in the second half. Defensively, we were poor for 90 minutes. You know, we played ourselves into trouble constantly, and you know, just at that point in the game, they were putting pressure on, and we were just sort of making it difficult and not getting the ball cleared.
Cara Wolf.
I know Carl thinks it was a penalty.
I mean, I don't know. Nick kind of sticks her hip out a little bit, or whoever it is. If it's Nick, I think it's Nick. And if that's in our box, I'm screaming for it. I think there's contact there. Whether there's enough or not, I don't know. But the ref, at that point, there'd been numerous fouls flying about. There was tackles all over the place. The ref lost the head a little bit with the game. He was going to give it either way, but I think it probably is. There's probably just enough contact there for it. She's looking for it, but you should be. If you get contact in the box, you go down, you get a penalty. That's how football works.
In the referee's defence, and it's not often I'll defend referees, you got one look at it. I think had that been in the men's game and they put it to VAR, they'd probably go to look at that. Are you sure? But he's only got one look at it. There is contact. She goes down. She did buy it. I mean, she did play for the penalty, and the referee bought it. For me, it's not a penalty, but I can understand why he gave it. I mean, the referee, from what I saw watching it on my phone and from the highlights, I mean, just bizarre. I mean, some of his decisions were absolutely bizarre. I mean, how could Kavanagh stayed on the park after she came off the bench? I mean, she was on a yellow card, and then me and Macaulay was on the pitch about 2 minutes, and she absolutely halved her. You know what I mean? In any other game, it's a yellow card. And he didn't even give a free kick. He gave a drop. I still don't know why he gave a drop ball. It's not in the highlights. I haven't seen it in any highlights package.
No.
But, you know, she commits the foul, nearly takes me his ankle away, and then the referee gives a drop ball to them. I don't understand the decision unless something happened before that I missed. You know what I mean? So if he's going to make decisions like that, then it's not really a great surprise he gave him a penalty, is it?
No, not at all. And Carr, just before the equaliser, there was a chance where it was bouncing around in the box, and the Celtic midfielder or attacker flashed a shot past the post, and then the long ball team or long ball sort of tactics as usual came in, and we cleared it initially, but not enough, and the shot came off the post and into the far corner.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, we'd lost composure, we'd lost concentration, we were all over the place, and we just completely got sucked into their way of playing, of going in for tackles, getting fouls, and then, because their whole game is hope for fouls and then go for set pieces. That's majority of their game, and we got sucked into that. But for this, I mean, defensively, we need to be a hell of a lot better. I love Nick, don't get me wrong, but she needs to be doing a bit better at that goal, and Vic needs to be doing better. But you let them back into the game, they're going to grow in confidence, and all they need is 1 or 2 chances, and they take them. It's just one of those things that we just never have figured it out. We just need to clear that ball, put it out for a throw-in at the side, and just kind of bide the time. But before that happens, Wilco, you probably didn't see it on the stream, but Wilco goes into the corner at 85 minutes and is faffing around there, as you do when there's like 30 seconds left. And we were all raging about that because I don't understand why she's doing that with 5 minutes left. That's more than enough time for us to just get the ball into their box and hope we get another goal. But instead of doing that, so it's decisions like that need to be worked on. It's unfortunately the way that it is, but by the time they score, there's not enough time for us to do anything.
Is the word we're looking for, Alan, streetwise?
Definitely, I think we need to manage the game better. But as I say, right from the start of the game, we were playing ourselves into trouble. You know, the constant swapping of keepers, you know, is not inspiring any confidence in the defence, I don't think. You know, we're putting pressure on Vic to play in a way she's not comfortable playing. You know, especially getting pressed high, and teams know that. Teams know that if it press us, trying to play out through the back, committing the 3 players to take goal kicks, you know, it's inviting pressure in these games. You know, you can't just keep doing that. You know, and I think the turning point in the game was taking Rio Hardy off and putting Charlotte Devlin on, because Kirsty, I do think Kirsty was playing behind Katie and Rio, you know, and I think the energy and the press that she helped us with disappeared when she moved up one to play with Katie, and Charlotte just didn't offer enough on that. I think had we put Jodie or Megan on, you know, that energy in there would have helped keep enough of the ball for us that we would have went on and saw the game out.
Yeah, Brian touched on that. I think it was a bit bizarre, but again, I can only go by what I saw kind of fleetingly on a small screen, stuff like that. But it's bizarre to me. We only used 2 subs. I mean, the game was obviously getting away from us. You know, we let them back into it after they got the penalty. I mean, it just seemed to always be them on the attack all the time. You would have thought, you know, Joe might have brought somebody on to, you know, as Alan says, shore up the defence, or put somebody in the midfield to kind of break up their play, or just do something rather than just bring on me and Charlie, and not even particularly to change the way we were playing. It just strikes me as bizarre that she uses her subs really, really well. In every other game, she uses all her subs, and then a game like that looks like it's getting away from her, she just does. I don't understand what Joe's thinking was.
She doesn't like making subs against Celtic, based on, if you look back, rarely against Celtic do we make all our substitutions.
But that's bizarre.
Carr, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, it is weird. It's something I had noticed because if you go into the Motherwell game, she makes more subs. So I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but just change the midfield. Put Camille Lafay in, for example, because she's very energetic, good with the ball at her feet. That would offer something. Megan, Jodie, you could put someone in there that makes sense, but to only make 2 subs and like around the 70th minute is a bit bizarre to me, especially when there was 5 minutes added on after they scored. Well, after full time. So there was about 11 minutes from when they scored that we could have done something. So just like throw someone else on, see if that makes a difference. But Joe's going to do what Joe's going to do, and hopefully she'll learn from that. But everybody needs to learn a lot because we've not got their number. And Malky, for his credit, had their number.
I mean, Brian, even on that, I mean, we're under the pump like that. It's maybe even an idea, and it's not very nice to look at. But to bring on somebody like Jodie and just say, right, you're not moving from that halfway line unless the ball goes over your head and you're chasing it. You know, just to take the pressure off, just to get the ball up at the end of the park. Just stand on it, try and win a throw or a corner, or just if you put it out, make sure it goes well. Look, give us time to regroup. Something along those lines, because it was obviously, from what I saw, there was wave after wave of Celtic pressure, which is what always happens towards the end of games with them for some bizarre reason. So you've just got to try and manage that a bit better, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, the stats say that 47% us, 52% them, so 53% them. So the possession was certainly, I think the shots on target was pretty much the same. Shots off, they had slightly more. So yeah, it's unusual for us to have such a low percentage of possession. But again, we were defending an awful lot in that last.
We could have just conceded territory and put Laura Rafferty on. You know, put an extra body in the box. Yep. You know, the options are on the bench. You know, sometimes you look at, you don't make many subs. Are the options good enough? But I think the options were good enough. You know, it was just the wrong choice. But the players have to stand up. You can't just pile that on Joe not making the right subs or enough subs. You know, the players have to manage the game better. You know, there's plenty of experience, and that team was on that park, and they've just completely backed off and lost control of the game.
Absolutely. So the final result was obviously Rangers 2, Celtic 2, and a chance, I would say 2 points certainly dropped, considering the position they were in after an hour. To only draw that game was not, and I can imagine that the manager was less than pleased with that. So we moved on to Motherwell at home, Car. Wholesale changes again. Well, not wholesale changes, but certainly in the midfield, in the attacking sense, it was changes. The goalkeeper changed. Fife and goals with Docherty, Hill and Eddie at the back as usual. We had Mia McCauley, Liv McLaughlin, Tess Middag and Ailey Austin, with Charlie Devlin, Katie Wilkinson and Rio Hardy. So there was maybe a slight change of sort of tactics in this one, in the sense that there was only 2 strikers on the pitch in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the goalie being changed. Maybe that was the plan all along, but I'm not a fan of this chopping and changing the goalkeeper for no reason, unless Vic was feeling it after Thursday night and she needed a bit of a rest. I don't know, but she shouldn't be. Your professional goalkeeper should be able to play 2 games within a week and be all right. But other than that, it was nice that Ailey Austin was on and playing wide, which is quite interesting. You know, normally in the back line kind of thing, but interesting. Charlie, for me, was a bit of a weird choice. I don't think she's really offered too much, in all honesty, since she's come in. But, you know, she needs to start at some point, and Motherwell should be a game that we're easily to get through with no issues. Should be, I say. It wasn't. But Joe's made that decision, and it is what it is.
Yeah, Alan, was the personnel for you in the well, not the defence obviously, but certainly in the midfield to forward line, was that a slight sort of surprise to you, and the goalkeeping situation also?
No, I very much expected the goalkeeper to change. You know, the 3 in front of the keeper probably fortunate that they saw Vic carry the can for a poor show defensively, or not surprised that wide players are changing, you know, playing as wing backs. You know, it's asking a lot of him to play 90 minutes every single time. So, no, Brogan was feeling a bit stiff after the game, and Paul's saying Brogan should have played, but we're just resting her just as a precaution. So, Brogan's confident she'll be fine for Saturday. But the work any of the two out wide are putting in, they're going to rotate quite a lot. What's probably quite interesting is that Ailey seems to have taken that option on out wide, whereas it was Jodie starting out there at the start of last season. Jodie's moving more central when she's coming on. So, I thought Ailey put a lot of effort in. I don't think necessarily the team started particularly well, but I thought the only sort of contentious one, I was very surprised that Charlotte Devlin started.
Absolutely. And Wolf, I think the first half you could just sum it up as so many shots and just couldn't break them down.
Yeah, I mean, go back to the team selection. I don't know what Charlie Devlin's position is supposed to be. I mean, having watched her, coming on and starting games, I don't know where she's supposed to play. You know what I mean? I mean, she don't get me wrong. There's no lack of effort. I just don't know what her position is supposed to be. And I mean, I'm with Alan. I expected the goalkeeper to change because Jenna's got to play something. You know what I mean? And Carl's right. I mean, Vic should be able to play, 2 games in the week or 3 games in the week, however you want to frame it. But I just expected it because it just seems to be what Jo does. She gives them both a bit of game time along the way. But yeah, the first half was a bit. Motherwell for nothing the entire game. You know what I mean? I know you refer to stats. The Old Firm game was fairly interesting, but Motherwell for absolutely nothing. I mean, you could probably have Penny was in goal, and it would still have been well because they did. I don't even think they had a shot. I'm not even sure they were inside their box for. I'd love to see that famous stat of touches in the opponent's box. I'm not sure they had any. So it was all us, but middle sort of the middle of the park with loads and loads of the ball. We just couldn't. The age of problem, we couldn't break them down.
Absolutely, and I suppose, Carl, you could put that down to the fact that their star striker wasn't able to play, was she? Because it's playing against a parent club.
Well, not their winger either, because she's ours, and then Sophie Black's obviously away on international duty. But it's been how many seasons now, and we cannot break down a low block. At what point does somebody walk into that room and go, "Here, this is how you do it"? Because surely by now someone's figured it out. But for some reason, we just can't do it. We can't work out how to get past them, or we kind of, it's too congested, we'll just take it out wide, and then it ends up getting blocked off. And to their credit, Motherwell did it quite well. They were frustrating us, and I think we were already frustrated after Thursday night. But they were flying into tackles and kicking lumps out of us and all sorts, and we were getting annoyed by it, which you would be. But you need to find a way to get past them and do better than that. But maybe one day we'll figure it out. But yesterday wasn't that day.
No, it certainly wasn't. And Alan, it took until into the second half before we managed to get that breakthrough. Across from the right-hand side from, I think it was Mia McCauley, and Katie Wilkinson was at the front post and just kind of flicked it on into the near post.
Yeah, and talking about the low block first, we're not going to encourage teams to come out and engage and try and beat the low block if they're never taking shots from outside the box. If you're not prepared to shoot from outside the box, there's absolutely no reason for teams to come out and engage. And leave space in behind. So we need to mix it up a wee bit. We need to have a wee bit of variety. But the ball forward from here, we thought there's no chance she's catching it. It looked to be overhit, but Mia just turned on the afterburners down the line, proved us all wrong, beat the fullback to boot and put in an absolute brilliant cross, and Katie Wilkinson got in front of the defender at the front post and just finished it off just like you knew she would. And I think that's 19 goals this season, if I'm not wrong. So, absolute phenomenal run. And her return has just been absolutely fantastic so far.
Absolutely. And Wolf, Lizzie Arnott getting the second, albeit by deflection, but shooting from outside the box. If you don't play the raffle, you won't win.
Well, I mean, I always go back to something that Ian Ferguson said, that early on whenever he was playing any game early on, first sight of goal he hit it, and he didn't care where it ended up because it just put doubt in the defender's mind. of he's got the ball, is he going to hit it, is he going to pass it, what's he going to do with it? We don't do enough of that. When Alan was saying we need to shoot, instead of tippy-tappy throwing it about, just throw a shot in early. And then they go, well, hold on, is this player going to shoot? What are they going to do with it? But I mean, yeah, Lizzie's goal with the ball. I mean, the ball came out there, she hit it, and the way Kirsty celebrated, I thought it came off Kirsty. I thought Kirsty put it in because Kirsty was celebrating like a mad thing, and having watched it back, it came off the Motherwell defender. And I'm not going to name the Motherwell defender because Carl seems to think I've got. It's just she's the only opposition player that I actually know who it is because I actually know her from the time she played with Rangers. It was Chelsea Watson that came off. And the only reason I keep referencing her is because she is probably the only non-Rangers player I can name in that league because she used to be a Rangers player. But yeah, I actually thought it was Kirsty that put it in because she celebrated like a mad thing, But again, you put it into the box when there's a load of bodies in there. It's going to hit somebody. It's going to, if it goes between the posts, the goalkeeper's 9 times out of 10 going to be wrong footed, so it is going to go in. But I mean, I think it'll probably go down as an own goal. But I'm going to tell Lizzie all day.
Yeah. So after the fixtures, after Rangers won against Motherwell 2-0, the league table stands as Rangers played 9, won 8, 25 points plus 52. Glasgow second on 24 points plus 28. Hearts 21 points plus 35. And Celtic played a game less on 20 points plus 23. So healthy enough position, Car, even though that was the first sort of slip up of the season?
Well, yeah, I mean, we should have won that game, but to potentially get close to losing the game from being 2-0 up, I'll take the point. But as frustrating as it is, it means that they've dropped points too, and they've already dropped points. So it does help us more than it hindered them, so to speak. But it's frustrating, but we're still top. We've got an opportunity now to go again on Saturday, hopefully beat Glasgow City, whereas Celtic now have a tough run of fixtures against Champions League opponents, and they're playing Tuesday, then Sunday, and then constant for the next 2 months. So that helps us if we can just put our heads down and actually get on with it. Go and score more goals, get back to scoring a lot of goals in games, and we'll be all right. But it's getting past that mentally where I think they're all a bit frustrated and annoyed about that. But it's done now. It's 2 games ago. Get on with it. Go and play Glasgow City and put your wrongs right, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, folks, I wanted to leave a bit of time for this because obviously this is something that's come up in the last day or well, today actually. I think it was Car and Alan's very own Graham that watches the pod as well that wrote a letter to the SWPL. So I will read it. If you bear with me, I'll get through it as quickly and as concisely as I can. As fans, we all want to see the SWPL grow and get to the levels of fans coming into games that you see in England and around Europe. However, there have been issues that need to be addressed in Scotland. Fixture clashes and kick-off times. How did we get here? On Thursday, the 3rd of October, there was an SWPL clash between Rangers and Celtic at Broadwood, which was scheduled for a 6 p.m. kickoff. First point, 6 p.m. kickoff on a Thursday night. This time on its own is bad enough when you factor in the various issues such as work commitments, college, uni, after-school clubs, plus not forgetting having fans battling through the normal rush hour traffic to attend a football match. This is not the first 6 p.m. kickoff either. Back on Wednesday, the 15th of May, there were 2 fixtures in Edinburgh. Those were Hearts versus Celtic and Hibs versus Rangers. Both games were changed to 6 p.m. kickoff. Again, the same considerations as above were clearly not taken into account. Both sets of fans had to battle through even harsher rush hour traffic to opposite sides of Edinburgh on a Wednesday night. The second point, fixture clashes with SWPL and men's teams. The SWPL has several teams which have also got men's teams representing different levels of Scottish football. And fans of these clubs would like to attend both matches, but there seems to be no consideration given to these fans when the schedules are released. Sometimes the SWPL fixtures and cup games are only confirmed a few days before. Also, there are several examples, but this will be kept to only a few examples to keep this brief. But Back to Thursday, the 3rd of October, the top of the table clash that we mentioned. That was 6 p.m, finished approximately 5-10 minutes before Rangers men's team played in the Europa League game at Ibrox, to the point where some fans had to choose between one game or the other, as they wanted to do both. Some fans left Broadwood very sharp to get over to Ibrox, knowing they would miss some of the game at Ibrox, as they wanted to show support to both teams, but the SWPL made this choice extremely difficult, and as a result, despite a healthy crowd, if there was no fixture clash, you would probably expect to see more in attendance at Broadwood, and thus more eyes on the SWPL to help the growth. September the 1st, the SWPL match with Dundee United and Rangers. This was originally announced at 4 p.m. kickoff, and the tickets went on sale on the Tuesday before the match. Then, 24 hours later, it was announced it was changed to 12 p.m. kickoff, despite people having bought tickets in good faith, and this also clashed with the Celtic Rangers match, men's match, the same day at 12:30. Again, another example of the SWPL losing out on more fans attending this match due to clash. Finally, the upcoming Sky Sports League Cup quarterfinals in November. You can already see with the kickoff times that both Rangers and Celtic women's teams' fixtures clash with the men's teams again, meaning it makes it impossible to attend both games for fans that like to do both. I'm sure that other SWPL teams have similar issues, and this needs to be addressed. All of this hampering the growth of the women's game in Scotland. It is a great product, and there should be more promoting involved. But if there are going to be constant fixture clashes and ridiculous kickoff times through the week, then all that is going to happen is attendances will start to drop, which is not what we want. And these records that the SWPL are proud to announce, and rightly so, of attendances each season will stagnate, and nobody wants to see that happen. Sorry about that, folks. That was a little bit long-winded, but I thought it was pertinent that we mentioned it. Alan, I don't know if you guys spoke about it on your pod. There's nothing there's absolutely nothing you can sort of. You have to just wholeheartedly agree with everything that's in that.
No, listen, absolutely. We spent a lot of time talking and bemoaning the fixture scheduling, and Graham's articulated it really well. I think it's got to be fair to say that the club, it doesn't suit the club to have these fixture clashes. In terms of resourcing, they'll have people that work at both. The club are well aware. There's a number of fans will travel to both games. And the fixtures are just not going to allow that at times, but it happens too often. There's no way through the course of the season you can avoid any fixture clashes. Especially when you get people who go to B team games, women's games, men's first team games. There's no way you can go the full season and not have fixture clashes, particularly with TV. But the league has to be chasing punters getting in. The crowds are modest at women's games, so a small increase in attendance is a big percentage.
Mm-hmm.
If you get an extra 20-30 people in a game where there's like 300 people there, that's a decent percentage. That's a decent uplift. There's more eyes in the game. I think there has to be more joined up thinking. They still have these issues in England. At start of the season, Manchester City were playing Arsenal, men and women in the same day. One game in Manchester, one game in London. So even though the WSL's light years ahead of the SWPL, they're still having some of the same issues. That it's just a lack of forward thinking from a league, and TV companies, and I don't actually blame the clubs for it. I think the clubs, will do everything you can to try and make sure that both games are accessible, but sometimes they're fighting with their hands tied behind their back.
Yeah, well, this has not been a subject that we've sort of dodged in the past. We've always raised it when we felt required, and Graham's letter is absolutely spot on, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think all I do is harp on about that on this pods every week, but the more it's highlighted, I think the more chance is of something happening. I mean, even just taking the Rangers angle off it, Right? I mean, even yesterday, Aberdeen men's first team played Hearts at Pittodrie at 3 o'clock because of Hearts' European involvement, and Aberdeen's women's team played 3.5 miles away at 1 o'clock, which means it's finishing at 10 to 3. So even then, they're 3.5 miles apart. You can't make both games. You can't make the entirety of both games because you'll never make it. You know what I mean? And that's probably the closest sort of women's and men's venue because they're in the same city and they're not too far away. I mean, Broadwood's 20 minutes from Ibrox on a good day. You know, Celtic's now playing at Airdrie, so that's a fair slip from the east end of Glasgow. You know what I mean? So, I mean, a wee bit of joined up thinking, as Alan says, for that game at Aberdeen yesterday, why not kick it off at 12:30 and give people half a chance? Or here's a totally radical idea. Why not have a look at the fixture schedule and say, tell you what, Aberdeen's women will play Hearts women at 12 o'clock, and then the men's team will play the women's team at 3 o'clock. So you could possibly entice Hearts fans to come up early and do both, and Aberdeen fans to do both. You know, that's the sort of thing they should be thinking about. You know, Rangers are playing Motherwell at Ibrox. Then let's have the women playing each other maybe 3 hours before. You know, so you can get. And I mean, Car had I don't know, it was a flippant remark on her own podcast she did with Demi earlier, that she said, look, they could possibly run shuttle buses. Why the hell not? You know what I mean? If you've got the same fixture but the women and then the men, put on how many people's going, right, you need to buy your ticket in advance. The ticket's going to cost you a £5. The bus will be at the door of one stadium and it'll bus you to the other one. You know what I mean? It's not difficult. It doesn't cost the clubs anything to do. You know, bus companies would fall over themselves to do that because they'd make a couple of quid out of it as well. You know what I mean? It can be done. As Alan says, you can't avoid it. There is going to be clashes. I mean, there's going to be changes due to, you know, European fixtures and all this sort of stuff, and games changing because of cup ties and all this sort of stuff. But because women's fixtures tend to change quite late anyway, there's nothing to say that they can't change the kick-off times. I mean, the quarter-final of the League Cup, Rangers are away at Motherwell, and I know it's only just been penciled in. It's just a sort of placeholder at the moment. We're kicking off at 4 o'clock in East Kilbride when the men's first team at Ibrox playing half 5 o'clock. Why not move that 4 o'clock kick off to 1 o'clock? You know, give people that want to do it a chance. It's not like at the moment that the Motherwell Rangers game is not on the telly. You know what I mean? So give punters like us that want to do it all a chance. You know what I mean? It's not if you're moving it, as long as you move it for a few weeks in advance, you can't do what Dundee United did and move it 4 days before. That's ridiculous. That's outrageous. You know, I mean, that's mental. But there has to be a lot more joined up thinking. But we do have to keep going on about it. I mean, Graham's open letter's fantastic as long as it gets to the right people. You know, it has to get to because the more, and I'm hoping it's not just us that go on about it. I'm hoping supporters of every other club in the league. Because the only club that doesn't impact Glasgow City, because they're the only club in the league that don't have a men's team.
Yeah,
you know, but it impacts everybody else. It impacts Partick Thistle. It impacts Motherwell. It impacts us, Aberdeen, Celtic. It impacts absolutely everybody. Even I mean, not being disrespectful, it impacts Montrose. You know what I mean? Without being disrespectful, Montrose. Obviously, they've got a men's team at a different level. So, as Alan says, 25, 30 people on a gate. That's a lot more extra revenue when you're considering you're only getting 600 or 700 people at the game. You know what I mean? And that 30 might next week be 50. And then, that's quite good. I took my daughter to that. My daughter's pal wants to come. We'll take them. Their parents come. And before you know, I get an extra 200 or 300 on the game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Car, I'll let you take it away.
I mean, I just echo everything that everyone's already said. But what I don't understand is why does it need to be a Sunday? It could be a Friday. Obviously, there's some men's championship fixtures on a Friday night. But if there's no midweek game and there's going to be clashes, why don't clubs ask to move it to a Friday night? You'll get people that will go because it's football and it's something on and it's something to do. So why don't they think about that? Well, why is it always this rigid? It has to be a Sunday. And I get that some of the clubs are part-time and they've got work. But if they can play midweek at 8 p.m, they can play Friday night, 8 p.m, 7:45, what have you. But it never seems to be that way unless it's an Edinburgh derby. For some reason, they're the only clubs that are allowed to play on a Friday night, it seems like. I don't understand. So why they couldn't work that out ahead of time right, there's going to be a clash here. Let's just move it. Our club's okay with it. Aye, that's fine. And then that would keep everyone happy. There's always going to be some kind of clash with the amount of clubs there are with men's teams. There's always going to be some issue somewhere.
Yeah.
But if you can limit it, possibly, then do that. Especially because I know our club, I know Rangers are at them. They're moaning about it. They're not happy about it. And they are at them complaining. We want this changed. But whether they get help there and say, yeah, we'll change it or we'll fix it, is yet to be seen because it's not happened so far. So we'll wait and see what happens with that cup tie. But it's just the way that it is. But they could be doing a lot more. I know the SWPL only care about the SWPL, but there's cross-board members there that could sit down and look at it and go, there's something to be done here, we can fix this. But we're always going to keep moaning about it until it's changed, and when it'll be changed, who knows?
And Brian, they can't use the, it clashes with TV games as an excuse, because I thought there was supposed to be a blanket ban on 3 o'clock and 3 o'clock kickoffs on a Saturday. We're 3 o'clock live on the telly this coming Saturday against Glasgow City. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? And that's clashing with, okay, there's no top flight games. That's how they can do it, right? But it's clashing with other games, lower league games, non-league games, all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? So they can't throw that, like Carl says, a Friday night, can't do it the Friday night as a championship game on. They can't throw that at you because they're showing a game live on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, which clashes with loads of stuff.
Absolutely. I was just about to say that our next fixture is Saturday, 3 o'clock, which is, yeah.
And it's live on Sky.
Live on Sky as well. So it kind of throws out any argument or any debate that they say that they can't have it on a Saturday or whatever. So it's baffling. But let's just, as you say, guys, let's just hope Graham's letter reaches the right person or the right people, and at least he gets a reply of some form, because I think it's a very good letter, and at the very least it deserves is a reply and a response to it. So let's hope that happens. But a few questions have come in. I'll come to you first, Carson, since you're there. Does anyone else think Hardy is off form? I don't think she is firing on all cylinders. It might just be the fact that Wilco has done it so well.
Yeah, I mean, me and Laura talked about this after the game. Obviously, she wasn't at the game on Sunday, but we were talking about it. That Rio has dipped a bit, and whether that is due to Wilco coming in and being so on form, potentially, or I don't know if she's still a bit depressed after what happened with the league last year. I think she just looks a bit not herself, so potentially that's it, or it is the fact having competition there. It's just taking the shine away a little bit. Potentially, I don't know, but I mean, she's obviously scored a few goals, not hit the heights that she did last season, but obviously brand new into the league last season. So, could be carrying a knock or something, having issues there. Who knows? But hopefully she picks back up again, or they get it figured out, whatever's going on with it, and she can start scoring again.
Yeah, could be just her nose is slightly out of joint, Car. I don't know. Any updates on player injuries, Alan?
No, I believe Joe's last comments was before the Old Firm game last week, suggesting that Kirsten McLean wasn't going to be ready for this week. Which if I've sort of read the comments right, suggests that Kirsten McLean's not too far away. Or Chelsea was looking at weeks and sort of weeks out. I think it was probably a sort of injury. You got to keep her out for 11 or 12 weeks. From what I was sort of hearing second hand. So she must have been out 6 or 7 weeks now. So probably looking at the end of November, we maybe see a realistic return for Chelsea. And Sarah Ewens, was described as a bit more long term, I believe, but she's back running on grass. So I think after being out for a few months, she's going to have to take a wee while to build up, and they'll probably put her through almost a pre-season before we see Sarah. So I think we'll hopefully have a fully fit squad heading into Christmas, but that's obviously pending anything else. And as Carl touched on earlier, we have to protect Liv. Liv probably could have stared a hole through Joe that Joe would have been proud of. Every time that board went up yesterday and it wasn't Liv's number. And despite the fact that she was absolutely burst, early in the second half, she still made a long burst and run to get on a ball into the box in it, like 89th minute. and practically fell over the ball by the time she actually got there. But the fact that she got there on the break, but that's my biggest concern right now, is that we protect Liv and we don't see Liv fall to injury.
Absolutely. Quick one here, Cart. Glad Megan Bell got more minutes, so that's always good. I'm surprised she didn't get more against Celtic, but so. Wolf, back to the... Or was it Motherwell? Sorry, Motherwell. I meant Motherwell. Apologies. Wolf, I'd love to see nothing more than a whole new board that are hungry to make Scotland grow and with no bias to any team, including our own. I would assume he's speaking about the SWPL board. Well, that's not going to change, is it? It's like turkeys voting for Christmas, isn't it?
It's never going to happen. What they really need to do is have a, and I have no idea how they would do it, is have an independent Scottish football board to look at the whole, some people from the men's side, some people from the women's side, some people from the youth side, so they can have a bit of joined up thinking, actually talk to each other, try and work together. I'm sure they do talk to each other, but actually work together and tell people what they're doing and say, look, we can't make this work but we can make this work, and we'll try this and we'll do this. And, have some fan engagement and have fan engagement sessions. I mean, I know there was a politician-led thing in City Chambers 4 or 5 months ago that I know Laura went along to. I think Demi went along to it as well. And by all accounts, it was quite good, but it was only 50 or 60 folk at it. Have something that any interested party can go along to. That's not club-centric, that's by all these organisations. Get people's thoughts, to see what they can actually do. Have a working party and say, look, how can we work this out? Would you be susceptible to do this? Get fans groups on board, because every club's going to have fans groups. We've got a couple of women's fans groups, so I'd imagine that lot will have a couple. Glasgow City will probably have a couple. You know what I mean? If they don't have them, they'll certainly make them if it's going to benefit them in the long run. But yeah, I agree with JD. I'd love nothing more than a whole new board, but unfortunately, it isn't going to happen because self-interest is always going to be there, isn't it?
Yes, unfortunately. And as JD's followed up with, I care more about the bank balance. Bank balance is growing than our football in Scotland, it seems like. So, yeah, there's a lot of...
Brian, they clearly don't. Because if they cared about the bank balance, they try and get bums on seats. They try and get people through the door. They seem to be actively encouraging people not to go to games. I mean, Thursday night, for example, was set fare for people that don't put money into football other than buying TV subscriptions. Because you had the Old Firm game on Sky at 6 o'clock, followed by the Rangers men's first team against Leon on TNT Sports at 8 o'clock. The only way you're watching both of them is to sit in your house and do it. That's not encouraging anybody to go to football at all. Whether it's going to Broadwood, going to Ibrox, or going anywhere. All that's doing is saying, right, we'll show this as a precursor to this. And sit in your house and watch it. That's not putting money into the Scottish game. They should be looking to try and get bums on seats. You know what I mean? Because it's not like the TV deals are outstanding. I mean, the men's TV deal's negligible. The women's TV deal, I don't even know what it is, but it'll not be a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, I thought I'd leave the best to last. I thought that would get a bit of interest, certainly from the panelists here and the people in the comments. But thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's been a busy show, 2 games. Graham's letter to the SWPL, which was brilliantly put and worded. So my thanks to everybody in the comments. Thanks for all the questions. Wolf, thank you very much.
Before we go, Brian, can we get score predictions from you for Saturday, please? Which, of course, while you're thinking is Glasgow City.
Yes,
Ibrox, 3 o'clock. Tickets available. I think it's £6 for my Jers members, which is an absolute steal. Great chance to take your kids along to Ibrox if you're that way inclined. 3 o'clock on Saturday, no excuses. It'll be good fun.
Great chance to travel down from Forest as well at 3 o'clock on Saturday.
I'm working.
No, of course.
Typical.
Yeah.
I'm working. I'll go 2-0 Rangers, and I shall say Kirsty Howitt's first goal scorer. Car?
I was also going to say 2-0, so I'll say 2-1, just to be a bit different. And I've said Mia's going to score the opening goal for the last 3 games, and she's not done it, so I'm going to say Mia again and watch her be on the bench.
Alan?
No, I'll go 3-2 Rangers. Glasgow City are scoring a lot of goals as well. we tend not to perform our best at Ibrox, and it'll be a wee bit concerningly tend not to perform our best on grass. So I think it'll be an entertaining game. You know, I think it'll be a game with goals, and first goal scorer Liv.
And Wolf, we know what one scoreline is going to be. It's just what the other one's going to be.
I was also going to say 2-0, so I'm going along with you 2-0. I don't mind being the same as you. And Alan stole my first goal scorer, so I'll stick with with my prediction for last week's first goal scorer and go for Leah Eddy.
You're determined for Leah Eddy to score a first goal, aren't you? Absolutely.
I'm hoping Alan's right, but I mean, I'm hoping Liv's living in an oxygen tent this week after yesterday, because honestly, she did. You wouldn't have seen it on any of the footage, but she just looked absolutely shattered. She looked devastated. Everything that board went up. You know what I mean? Her name's not on it. Devastated. I mean, I think I think it was Carl that summed it up. If it wasn't the fact that it was City next week, she would probably just have somebody get sent off to get arrested.
Absolutely. Well, as I said, folks, that is us. It's been a bumper show. It's nearly been an hour, which is amazing. But thanks to everybody joining in and asking the questions.
Does that mean you have to run? Does that mean you have to run quickly because you're on the show at 7:30?
No, I've got a night off tonight. Yes, okay. I've got a night off tonight.
Oh well.
Yes. So you won't be seeing my ugly mug on it later on. Well, in 5 minutes. But no, thank you very much to everyone. It's much appreciated, and we shall see you next Monday.